he's up for his 7th book in the Iron Druid Chronicles, the first hardcover, Shattered. Atticus, the 2,000-year-old druid who still has an attitude. I keep thinking after 2,000 years he'd be more mellow, but I figure if he wasn't a smartass, we wouldn't like him so much. And, you know, I give him a couple money. I've had time to piss off a lot of deities and other people. Other than that, I don't think we want to say much more, except in case you haven't seen, there is a few copies left of Unfettered over there, the anthology that was published a year ago, which is a benefit for Sean Speakman, and there's still a few left. Kevin has a story in there. It's going to be out of print pretty soon, I think. Other than that, please welcome Kevin Hearne.
It's pretty cool to just realize how short you are once that happens. I think some of you might have actually driven a slight distance, you know, not just Seattle. Has anybody come from out of town? Okay. How many of you drove more than an hour? Okay, more than 2 hours? This dude, okay, and over here. Okay. Were either of you more than 3 hours? More than 3 hours? Oh, wow. Okay, so are you together? You two right there?
1, 2, 3.
So you're all together. Okay, all right. This is for you. This is a limited edition. So that's awesome. Yeah. Got the Guild Ferret shirt on. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, the right person got that book. But yeah, that's an ARC. They only did 250 of them. So yeehaw, you know. That's pretty spiffy. So you can have a fun time hunting down all the rest of the authors and getting their signatures too. Make it a little quest. I also want to just thank all of you guys for coming out, period, wherever, how far you came, if it was next door or whatever, because making the effort to come out and see an author, well, a lot of folks don't do that. So because I wanted to do something special for you guys, so I commissioned an artist in Tucson. Her name is Galen Dara, and she does a lot of work for the sci-fi fantasy community, and she's a Hugo Award winner, and she's up for another Hugo this year. So I asked her to do a painting of Oberon for me, and then put a quote from Shattered on it, and so that I could give to you. So when you guys come up and see me, you will get one of these. I've already signed them, and yeehaw, that's my thank you to you for coming out and seeing me. So I think Dwayne was telling me that if you wish to actually buy a book still, you have to do so by 7. Okay, so commerce has to occur by 7 p.m. if you want to buy any other books at all. And of course, I'm thrilled to sign all of my former books as well. So, you know, wear me out, okay? Anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about tonight was voice, because it's what made me want to become a writer, and it's also what I played around with most in this particular book. When I read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in college by Ken Kesey, I wanted to do what he did, just without taking all the LSD. I was so impressed with what he did with the voice of Chief, who's this mentally ill patient, and he's your narrator, and you can see how messed up he is with the language. And then as he gets better throughout the novel, the language clears up too. And I was just so impressed with what he was able to do there that I said, I want to do that, and I want to write in first person, and I want to make voices like that just seem so unique and awesome. So it took me a long time to figure out how to do it, and I certainly do not write like Ken Kesey, but I do enjoy creating different voices. And I've been doing Atticus for quite some time now, but I started to branch out a little bit. In Hammered, I said, well, let's do this Canterbury Tales section where we have all of these different narrators come in and tell us why Thor is a douche canoe. And then I added in also, this right after I got finished with that, I wrote a short story called A Test of Mettle, and that was entirely from Granuel's point of view. How many of you have read that one? See, some of you haven't. You might not have even knew it. It's out there. This is it's the first time I wrote Granuel's point of view, and it's for free on my website. You just go to the short stories page and download it. It's a PDF ready to go. So what basically that takes place while Atticus is in Asgard with, you know, the gang of gods and all that stuff, doing the throwdown with Thor and Odin and everybody. Granuaile, remember, took off with Oberon. And so this tells you what happened to her while Atticus was off in Asgard. And reveals a lot more about her character and what her motivations are for becoming a druid, etc. So I really enjoyed writing in Granuaile's voice. It was so different from Atticus's, and she has a lot going on in her head that she doesn't necessarily reveal to everybody else. So for this book, we have 3 points of view. We have Granuaile now with equal time with Atticus, and we also have Owen Kennedy, the Arch Druid, and who's been brought forward in time, and he was a lot of fun to write. Actually, when I got my editorial letter back from from New York, they said, well, you have all these things to fix in the Atticus and Granuaile chapters, but the Arch Druid chapters are perfect. You know, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything to them. So I was like, yes, 1 out of 3. So he's a lot of fun to write, but also for me to read. How many of you have ever seen The Quiet Man with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara? Quite a few of you. Okay, cool. Old Irish movie, well, American movie about starring the Irish and about the Irish. And there's a character in it that is the brother of Maureen O'Hara's character. And this brother is named Red Will Danaher. And he is so ready to fight anybody over, you know, anything, just looking at him wrong. And then once you fight him, he likes you. And that's kind of what, you know, the Arch Druid is like. You punch him and he's like, I like this guy. And he's just very cantankerous and in your face. So that's kind of the voice that was in my head as I was writing it, and still is. Luke Daniels does a wonderful voice for him, but it's not exactly what I was thinking. And that's fine, you know. Yeah, Luke Daniels always does a great job. But, you know, his interpretation, of course, of the text, you know, I don't have any input on that. That's, you know, I try to tell them if they call me and say, how do I pronounce this, I will tell them. But otherwise, I don't have any input on the performance. That's all their bag of chips, you know. So I was going to read to you a little bit of the Arch Druid's chapter, his first one. He shows up for the first time in chapter 6 as a point of view character. And I was going to do a little bit of that for you, a couple pages anyway. And just to give you a flavor of how I was kind of picturing him in my head as I was writing him. So, Sheahan says it's great to have a name like Owen Kennedy in the modern world. Kennedy was president of the United States not so long ago, which I guess means he was fucking important. I should be proud that someone of my family rose to be such a great leader. Of course, says he, John Kennedy was a Catholic, and the Catholics were the ones who drove the Druids out of Ireland. Well, stab me in the tit, why don't you, I says. But then Sheahan says this JFK was a good sort as far as leaders go. All the Kennedys were while they lasted. While they lasted, I says. John was shot to death, and so was his brother. They never caught the bastards who did it. Well, now you're just throwing rocks at me stones, I says. Life must be a kick in the head for you right now, he replies, and he's not far off. It's more like a bucket of cold water every few seconds. The cars and the buildings and what the hell people wear on their feet these days. And fucking plumbing. Sheahan introduced that to me to that modern miracle after he took me to the woods to drink his thrice damned tea. I never would have thought that taking a dump could be a luxury instead of gambling with your arse every day. And when I asked him why he didn't let me use one of those toilet things to begin with, he says it's because everyone knows that a bear shits in the woods. And then he laughs like he's fucking funny. I don't know what my bear form had to do with it, but I told him that a bear kicks arse in the woods too, and he'd be finding out personally if he messed with me anymore. You should write all of this down, he says. It will help you learn their language faster and process everything. Druids don't need to write anything down, says I. And how did that work out for us, he says. The Romans were able to wipe us off the earth, and we never got to tell our side of it to history. Most of your time, most of my youth, it's all gone because no one wrote it down. All the world knows is based on what someone dug up out of the earth, and rocks with a few scratches of Ogham's script on them, marking land boundaries, tell the world very little about how things really were. But the world knows about Julius Caesar and all the Caesars that followed, because they wrote everything down, and it survived. We need to write if we want the world to know about us. I'll do it with you. We'll write together. He has a point. He's still an enormous cock-up, mind. But I have to admit that Shiahan has the occasional moment of competence. If I ignore the embarrassing side effects, that tea of his did me more good than a week of sex in a cave. I have all me dark hair and muscles again, and the ache of me knuckles is gone like he promised, and protecting himself with that cold iron aura so the Fae can't touch him, that was a clever idea. I suppose when I see such things that he's done me proud. But he's also done some other things so stupid that if all the other druids weren't already dead, I'd have to kill them before they blamed me for it. There you go. So what I was discovering as I was writing the book is that if I tried to switch back and forth between the different voices, the way they're presented in the book, I would get screwed up because some of the Archdruid's voice and pattern of speaking would leak into Atticus or Granuaile, and it would just be a mess. So it was actually very slow too. So I sped things up by saying, well, look, I'm just going to write all the Archdruid chapters, and then I'll write all the Granuaile stuff, and I stay in the same voice for days, and then let's put them back later, put them together later in the order that they should be. So this actually only took me 5 months because of that. So it was a fast book for me. Actually, Hexed and Shattered were the two fastest books. They both took me exactly 5 months to write. And then the others were about anywhere from 7 to 9. So as far as when I'm going to get to the next one, people are already asking me. And that makes me weep, right? It's like, I worked so many, 5 months just on the first draft, and then you have to do your edits and all that other stuff, right? So, we're working for months and months on it, and they finish it in a day. And they're like, when's the next one? I'm like, yeah, right? So I haven't started on it yet because, there's a running joke about how you never want to be Nigel in Toronto. I have to figure out why. I'm going to Toronto at the end of this tour, and then I'm staying there for a few days because I'm doing the research on it. I kind of have this, I have the desire to make sure that the urban or real life locations, and not the ones on the fantastic plane, right? But the real life locations are places you can actually visit. You can really go to Rulabula and Tempe and have the best fish and chips anywhere, and so on. So I want to get to know Toronto, and I actually have a fan out there whose profession is a project manager. Like, she just makes sure that everybody gets to where they should go all the time. She just schedules people's lives. And so that's what she's done for me. She sent me the itinerary. I'm like, crap. It's a little more intense than I thought, but okay. She's actually been doing the research on Toronto. She's been enjoying it because she's learned a lot about her city in the process. Because Atticus was there in 1953, so she had to go find all of the neighborhoods that existed then, and none of the new stuff. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And it's also Pride Week in Toronto, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome down there.
You
so
have to pronounce it Toronto.
Toronto?
I'm from there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's not Toronto.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Toronto.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Achievement unlocked. Thank you for teaching me, because I seriously did not know, obviously. So that's going to be happening later on, well, actually next week. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Okay, I want to make sure that you guys get out of here with what you want. Sometimes you have questions, and I'll answer them if you have them. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yeah, go for it.
I was going to ask you if Rulabula really did have the best fish and chips in the world, but you already covered that one.
Yeah.
Now my only other question is, did Jesus really make some for everybody?
It's a mystery.
You had to have been there, right?
Yeah, you had to have been there. He's back in this book. He's a lot of fun to write. Yeah. I love Jesus. He's a great guy. Great character. Any others? Yes.
Are you really going to stop after 9? I don't think I could date it.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a reason for doing it. It wasn't just sort of an arbitrary thing, but it's 9 is a sacred number among the Tuatha De Danann and among the the old Irish myths. When they were telling stories about somebody had to construct a great pyramid or whatever their heroic thing that they were going to do, it took them 9 days or 9 weeks or 9 months or whatever. So everything was in sequences of 9, and so Atticus, being from that oral tradition, would, when trying to compose his own story, would naturally put it in 9 installments. So there's a character-based reason for doing it that way. Now, what if, this particular, even though I have 9 books, I also have the novellas and the short stories and things like that. There will be a short story in between this book and book 8 called A Prelude to War that I've already begun. And that will be kind of a bridge between the two, the way Two Ravens and One Crow was a bridge between books 4 and 5. So, but in terms of other stories afterward, there's so many characters in here that I can go spin off and have fun with. The Polish Witches, for example. They're a lot of fun. They've been doing their thing. Hal Houck and the werewolves, and No, I haven't. I do have a. Here's the thing about Oberon as a main character. Atticus, feed me. Okay. And there's your conflict. It's not, Oberon is basically, he works best as a sidekick. He's really not a main character. He's not somebody who goes out and gets in adventures and stuff like that. So I do have an idea for doing a story with J. Wells. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's one of my favorite authors. I highly recommend Dirty Magic, which is her new one. And then she has Cursed Moon coming out in August. That's a new series. She has a completed series, the Sabina Cain series, and in it there is, one of those little furry cats, well, not furry cats, wrinkly cats that have no fur, like the Dr. Evil, Mr. Bigglesworth. What are they called? Sphinx cats? I just call them ugly. but she has one of those in her Sabina Cain series that's really a mischief demon called Gagul. And so he is the sidekick animal companion to Sabina. And we've already been talking a couple of times now about doing a story with Gagul and Oberon together as a fun little romp kind of thing. So yeah, right. So you have this giant freaking dog, right, a hound, and then this tiny little wrinkly cat running around together. We're just the visual image is amusing to us. So, well, we've I don't know when that's going to happen precisely. We have to kind of make our schedules work, but I'm looking forward to it. Yes?
Would you consider a cookbook based on Oberon's 5 meats?
So I guess you've read the book already. Would I consider a cookbook? I don't think I could write one. My cooking, tends to be, put meat on the fire and then put salt on it. Yeah, exactly, right. I don't know if there would be a market for that kind of thing or not, but you'd buy it? Oberon's recipes?
I bought Terry Pratchett's cookbook.
Oh, I didn't know you had one. That's awesome.
I didn't either.
Oh, okay, cool. It's very cool. Yes?
Two quick ones.
Yeah.
Tell us your connection to the Star Wars.
Oh, the Star Wars, yeah. Star Wars is the Heir to the Jedi. That will be out, they're now telling me, in February. And starring Luke Skywalker. I get to write him in first person, and I'm also told that I'm actually going to be canon, whatever that means. So yeah, it's pretty fun because the first time Luke will be in first person. He's always been this guy who's in the movies, his character is revealed through action, and you never really know what he's thinking, but he's got a rich intellectual life, boy. You can just tell. When he's sitting there and that desert wind is blowing through his locks and he's staring at the twin suns of Tatooine, you know he's thinking deep thoughts. So I'm having fun with that. And I actually, it's a different process because you have the Del Rey editor and then you have the Lucasfilm editors who chime in with their stuff and say, no, you need to use this alien instead, or whatever. So I will have those edits back waiting for me once I get back from Toronto. Did I say it right? 2 for 2. So anyway, yeah, that's basically what I've got in the. I'm not going to do any more, just that one. So, yeah. Yeah, and it's been.
Dragon Con, can we buy you a drink there? Are you going to be?
Yeah.
Have they invited you?
Yeah, I'll be a guest at Dragon Con.
Yes.
I've never been there, so I don't. I've just been told, watch out. Mostly, I've been told, watch out for people walking by and smearing you with their body paint. I hear there's a lot of skin with yeah. So yeah, there's the people with, you know, you're going down. I heard about tales walking between the buildings, and you're in a narrow sidewalk, and here comes this guy with these giant angel wings or Balrog things, and yeah, that's gonna be fun. So, all right, sounds good. Yes.
I know that you started off with not animation, but drawing. Is there going to be any graphic novels or anything like that of any of the short stories?
If somebody wants to do it, I'd certainly let them. You know, if somebody wanted to license that and, you know, be serious about it, sure. But I don't have time myself to do it, and my drawing skills are pretty. You know, they're okay to, you know, you can recognize that's a dog, but you know, but they're not really awesome. I can do human beings okay, but you know, once you get me into anything that's architectural and, you know, depth perception, yeah, we're in trouble. So, anybody else? Yes.
Do you have your own Irish Wolfhound?
I don't. I got a pug and a Boston Terrier.
Really similar, yes.
Yeah. Well, the thing about them though is that they're very, very expressive dogs. They have great expressions on their faces, and it's almost like they are kind of talking to you. And yeah, they really serve as the inspiration for, you know, and their behavior serves as the inspiration for Oberon. So, and right next to you.
What's your favorite pantheon to write about?
My favorite. I'm sorry.
Pantheon, like which of the?
Oh, the pantheons. Oh, I really enjoyed the heck out of writing the Hindu pantheon this time. I didn't get into a whole bunch of them, but I had the most wonderful time researching it and speaking to some people of the Hindu faith. It was actually the most productive conversation I had was a chance meeting. I was on a plane flight from Minneapolis to Pittsburgh to go visit Nicole Peeler, and I was seated next to this Hindu woman, and I was scared. I was like, she might know what I need to know, but you know, how often do you, hey, complete stranger, let's talk religion. Right? I was so scared, you know, to broach the subject, especially since if it didn't go well, where am I going to go? I'm trapped in this metal tube for, you know, 1,000 miles. So, but she turned out to be super gracious and awesome, and very interested in what I was doing, and, you know, asking her things that, you know, people usually don't ask, you know, because I had done some reading. So, you know, I knew a little bit, but the finer details I did not know, and it turns out that a lot of that stuff is, well, some of it, there are different interpretations, and they're open to that. That's one of the cool things about the Hindu faith, is that, you know, if you have a slightly different interpretation of how something is portrayed, they're not going to really say, you know, you're wrong. You know, everybody's path to the divine is different, and that's fine. They like that. So since it's a very accepting faith, it's one of the things that I really admire about it. That would be actually the serious theme of my books, would be religious tolerance. And Hindus practice that, whereas a lot of religions are kind of like, we're the one true way. So I admire that about them very much. That was a really long-winded, sorry. Hope that was okay. Did I answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
Oh, no, I was scratching my eye.
Okay, you did a great job, though. That eyebrow looks thoroughly scratched. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Game rights for your books?
Oh, video games? Same thing with graphic novels or movie or TV. If somebody wants to do it, sure.
So reach out to your agent.
Play any board games?
I play board games, yeah. But in terms of making a game out of it, or a video game, I think it would be fun. There's so many classes you could play, you know. So, but I don't have the contacts, the resources, etc. to do it myself, of course. So, somebody would have to get interested independently. I think what happened, I have had people come to me about the TV stuff, and it's kind of funny. I've noticed a pattern. Hey, Kevin, we've read the first 2 books. We really, really love them. We want to do this for a TV series. And this is how all the Hollywood stuff is. We really love it. We're really excited. And then they never call you again. So what happens is, I said, so you read the first 2? Cool. All right. Well, they're like, yeah, we want to talk to you about the way the rest of the series goes. I'll say, well, read the 3rd book. And, you know, because that's the one where Black Jesus comes down and has a shot and Woola Boola. And so that's the part where they never call me back. Because they realize if we put this on TV, you know, because I seriously don't get. People occasionally ask me, they're like, "Do you get in trouble for having Jesus in your books?" And I'm like, no. The people who would get their panties in a wad about it, you know, they don't read my books. they're reading the Bible, and that's all they read. So I figure as long as that remains the case, you know, I'll be safe. But as soon as you put it on TV, somebody's gonna go, "Hey, wait a minute! That's not what I've got on my wall. I've got white Jesus over here." So, yeah, Nordic Jesus. Nordic, you're right. That's what it is. Yes, sir.
Are there any really good pantheons that you want to do in the future?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. You just got me all excited. Probably a little more excited than you were expecting. I don't know if I can handle this guy right now. Some of the African, I've already introduced him. Shango, the thunder god. He'll be around. He gets mentioned in here, okay, and but just briefly when Atticus realizes that he gets played. So, there's definitely a big, you know, resetting of things here in this book. You know, things are not the way Atticus thought they were. So anyway, you'll hear Shango get referred to a couple of times in this book, and he will be coming around the mountain pretty soon. So I'm looking forward to him, and I love the Shinto stuff in Japan. I went to Japan last year during the summer to actually research some of the Japanese sequences in this book. So this year I've got to do Toronto. And then I have to do Italy too for the next book. So yeah. Dang it. Yeah, gotta write off a trip to Italy. Shit. Yes, sir. Oh well, I have an epic fantasy that I'm working on too. It'll be released alternatively. Alternatingly with the Iron Druid stuff. So it's actually what's coming next. I'm working on it now, and it's called A Plague of Giants, and that will be a trilogy. So you'll have Shattered, and then Plague of Giants, and then the next book. Do you guys know what it's called? The next Iron Druid book? Okay, it's called Staked. Oh. But that's not a steak as in like what you eat with Oberon. Yes. So yeah, I mean the vampire stuff is gonna, you know, come to a head. So that's why we're doing Italy, because that's where Rome is where the vampire headquarters are, kind of sort. So anyway, after Staked, then we got the second book of the epic and so on. So it's just gonna kind of alternate there. The epic fantasy? Oh no, it's a completely different second world, and nothing druidic about it. No talking dogs. Completely different stuff. Completely. Yeah. Will it be? People who have read my chapters so far have laughed. There are a lot of different voices in it, as you might imagine. That's kind of something I dig. So. There are certain voices in it that are quite amusing, but then there are people who are very serious and dour and so on. So you get a mix. Yes, sir.
Will you get Luke Daniels to read that series as well?
Maybe. I seriously have no power over that. The audio thing, once you sign your rights away, and you've signed them away, and they make the decision. So. If they might decide that since Luke has done so well for my other series that would be a wise decision, and I hope they do, but I don't really have any power to make the decision. Did you have a question, or were you doing the eyebrow scratching? Yes.
Oh, I was scratching, but I do have a question. The leech, the siphon leech.
The arcane life leech. Yes. Oh yeah.
Inspiration for that. Where did that come from?
Whiskey. No, actually, it was a concept that I came up with a long time ago for my epic that the bad one that never sold and never will be sold. One of my training novels, and it was yeah. I wrote 2 training novels before I wrote Hounded, so they're tremendously awful, and will never be published, and that's fine. But I learned a lot by doing it, So, but I loved the idea of this life leech thing that I'd created for it, and then all I did for his appearance in Hunted was add alchemy to it, because it looked different in my original formulation way back when. So I can't remember what I was thinking way back when I first came up with it, but the alchemy thing, the tattooed skull and all that, and then the cravat, I mean, yeah. You just know he's evil because he's wearing a cravat. So, yes?
If you could take Atticus and put him into somebody else's world, some other world, or draw their iconic character into Atticus' world, where would you do that?
No, I would do it with Jay Wells. I love her stuff. She's fabulous. Jaye is how she spells it. She lives in Dallas, and she gets better with every book. That's why I just kind of... Jay knows now that there's my friend Kevin, and then there's fanboy Kevin. Watch out for fanboy. Because I'll come up and kind of squee at her, and, oh my God, summer book! And actually, if you guys look in Shattered, you look at the dedication, it's dedicated to Jay. Jay and Nicole. So, yeah. The laser vaginas, yes. Somebody scratched their eyebrow and asked me about that. All right. Here's what, this was really a thing between Jay and Nicole. They were talking about misogynists online because they abound. They're everywhere. And they'll be saying things on Twitter or Facebook or wherever out there that are just annoying as heck. And Jay was talking with Nicole about it. She's like, Nicole, my vagina's getting angry. I'm gonna pull out the laser and shoot these guys. Pew, pew, pew. So after that, whenever Jay and Nicole were talking about misogynists, they were basically saying, fire up the laser vagina, this guy over here, he's saying something stupid. And at Phoenix Comic-Con, we were seriously, I was laughing until I was crying. I was completely red in the face. I couldn't get my breath. I was laughing so hard because we were sitting there on a cocktail, trying to draw a laser vagina on a cocktail napkin. It is an engineering, challenge. How do you make this work? And whatever we drew, because we were 12 again, we're sitting there, we're really bad at our drawing, it's so immature, and everything we drew looked like serious digestive problems going on there, just these spewing of, whatever. It's like, that's lasers, no, that's diarrhea. And it was just so bad. So I don't think we'll ever see an engineering diagram of a laser vagina, but we know they got to be out there. It's got to be possible somehow.
Can you draw one in mine? Can you draw a laser vagina?
Dude, it's bad. It's bad. Because I was drawing things, I'm like, okay, well, what if there was something hidden up in there, that like extended out, like go gadget laser vagina. But then, what would happen is that, if you're drawing this apparatus, you're just like, no, Kevin, that looks like a penis. I'm like, shit, you're right. It's just like, you can't just go doing that. So, anyway, there you go, you guys. I probably should have asked before. Oh, sorry about the young kid. Okay, cool. Yeah. Any awkward questions that you get after this, have fun. Any other questions? Yes? Oh, okay. She's asking about the herb shop in the Third Eye Books and Herbs in the first few books when you had that, and how much research did I do into herbs? Okay. I actually took medicinal herbs as a class in college up in Flagstaff, and And I say up in Flagstaff when it's really down from here, sorry. I'm always thinking I'm in Phoenix for whatever reason. But yeah, when I was in Flagstaff, I took medicinal herbs, and they do have this Winter Sun Trading Company. It's an herb shop that has everything he needs for immortality, etc. And it was a lot of fun, and also a little bit scary about all the different ways plants can kill you, especially the things that are supposed to be good for you, but take a little bit too much of it and you're toast in a very, very bad way. So, but I would not count myself an expert by any means.
You didn't kill anybody. I looked at the competitions. You were good.
I was good. I did. Well, I did go and talk to a couple of herbalists too, and make sure that I wasn't going to screw up anything. So, thank you for that. I do occasionally screw up something somewhere, and then I get a stream of emails from people who said, "Did you know?" Yes, I just got 5 other emails with the same thing. but yeah, that one I got right. That's good. In this particular book, it's the fact that the werewolves don't have backwards knees. I screwed that up apparently. That wolves don't have backwards knees. I thought that the thing halfway down the leg was a knee, but apparently that's an ankle. You know what, the thing that's going backwards? So I didn't realize that was an ankle, because midway down my leg, I have a knee. So yeah, I screwed that part up, but oh well. I'll just get emails about it for the rest of my life. Oh well. So yeah, that is why you have to do your research, because of whatever you screw up, you will hear about it forever.
Yeah, but wait, the character knew. The character probably.
Yeah. Well, the character know. He didn't know that. I just didn't know that. Yeah, you know what? That was Owen's chapter. He wouldn't know that.
Right.
He wouldn't know that was an ankle. Yeah, thank you. I will totally run with that. Awesome. Yes, sir.
So you frequent Rula Bula, the real one?
Yeah.
So they know you've written them into your stories?
Yeah, they have the books above the bar.
Business because of that?
I've been told they do, yeah. They always buy my first drink when I go in there, so they must be happy with me. Yeah. Anybody else? Nope? Okay. Well, cool beans, man. If you guys do have other questions for me once we start signing, please feel free to ask. If you want to do a selfie with me, I'm all about selfies. But if you could make sure that you have your camera kind of ready to go so we don't take a large amount of time and kind of slow things down for folks behind you. And then I will give you a copy of your Oberon poster as you come on up. And again, thank you so much for coming to see me. I really, really appreciate it. And it's wonderful to be back in Seattle again, and because you guys are always an awesome group of readers, seriously. So, thank you.